place that only God and I can go. Does that make sense? I heard it this morning. I got it this morning. In that moment, you're in that total presence and the awareness within your heart. So let's just take just a moment before we get started to just take a deep breath. And taking in that very essence of God, the life of God. And then breathe out, releasing all stress, all anxiety, all past, all future. Just feel that peace. That peace is right here, right now. There's no place to go, nothing to do, except to just be here and now. Now take another deep breath. And just relax. And let that sound come forth from you that came forth from creation itself. Do it one more time and notice that vibration coming from the heart, going through your whole body. And hold it at whatever rhythm you want to, and whatever pace. Our loving Creator, we give thanks for all the blessings that are here this day. That we're open and receptive to your living spirit of truth that is right here with us, that is always with us, walking with us, going beside us, being in our midst. But so often we don't recognize you. We don't recognize that high part of the creative life force that moves and breathes. It has its being in us. Bring forth that light and that peace through each and every individual here and out into the world, that we may begin to be that which we're called to be a light in dark places, to be peace, to be that healing energy that surrounds us and others as we move and breathe and have our being in you. And recognize that I and the Father are one. I and the Mother are one. I and all creation are one. Right here, right now. And so it is. Thank you, God. Thank you. I think the one thing that we tend tend to forget or have forgotten. We knew all this when we incarnated, I do believe. I believe in reincarnation. I don't know if you do. But I believe the soul never dies. I believe we're body, soul, mind. We're spiritual, we're a spirit being, and we're a human being here on this earth. And we are now coming to the place that we've evolved. I believe we have been incarnating lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime till we finally come to this point. That initiation that Jesus took on the cross is initiation you're going through right now. And it's initiation that the world's going through. Taking on the pain and the suffering, the fear and the anxiety. But he came to the place that when he was born, it was already foretold that there would be someone that would come. If you read the Bible verses that are what we put in our little thing. Well, no, it was no. But I'm lack of words because I'm getting underground.
The email newsletter?
Yeah, the email. Mm-hmm. If I try to think when I get into space, it's hard to think. So, but if you read the chapters where the road to Emmaus, how's that? That was the title of it. But the road to Emmaus is when the crucifixion was over with, everything that already Jesus had risen from the dead, and people were talking about it. And so there was two people walking about 7 miles going to Emmaus, and on the way they were talking about, about Jesus, what all happened, who he was and what he did, and all the stories about him, and how they went against him, and they took him to the Roman Empire and took him to into the authorities, and they told what he had been doing, and he was going against the government. He was going against the religious order. And with all the good that he'd been doing, I'm sure that he had to be of God. They saw that he was opening the blind eyes. He was causing the lame to walk, the deaf to hear, the dumb to speak. I mean, all these miracles. Even there's been two different people, a young man and a little girl that he raised from the dead. Oh, and don't forget Lazarus. Remember what he did there? He was already been dead for 3 days. Somebody could pass out for a day or so, but they couldn't live just lying there for 3 days. They're dead. But he called him forth. This had to be of God. Of course, religious orders thought he was the devil. Because you know what? He didn't have all the degrees. He hadn't got approved by the religious order. He wasn't a leader, but yet he was speaking in the synagogues. Do you know that? But what authority did he have to do that? Well, we asked him one day, some people who were asking him, and I was there probably, one of those people probably there was, they was talking. And he said, yeah. They asked him, he said, well, the Father within me does the work. It's not I. But most of the people were getting it on the mundane level. They were getting it from the head, trying to process who this person was. And of course, he must have been in the wrong since they crucified him. Who knows? So I think these men, as they were walking and talking and going to Emmaus, that was like, I think one was questioning, saying, I'm not so sure that he was, he had talked about being a ruler here on earth. He was he was the king of the Jews, they were saying. He was going to set people free from all this people that had authority over them. And the other one says, but I don't know. I still believe he was the right person. I think he was for real. I really think he was from God. And so Jesus was walking behind him. And he came up and he asked him, he said, what are you talking about? He knew what he was talking about. But he wanted to get them to begin to think. That's what we have to do, is process. Where are we with anything that's going on on the outer world or the inner world? Right now, we're as split as we can be. And to me, a church is not a place to bring politics in. But I've watched it everywhere. And people that were close friends, even family members. I'm not having anything to do with you anymore because you don't believe course, it has always been that way, but I didn't see it to the degree I'm seeing right now. Because at 77 years old, I will be in a couple of weeks, I watched as I couldn't play. I couldn't be your friend. You couldn't have been mine either. Right? Because of a different color. And it was not just color. I'm sure somebody here is maybe a Catholic or come from another different background. I couldn't be your friend either. Most ridiculous thing I'd ever heard as a child. I'm probably about 4 years old or so, or 5, and meeting people that were starting to move in our community, if they were not Baptists, they were probably going to hell, you know. Remember those things? It did not compute. And today, all this division just doesn't compute. So what we're doing, we're getting to see it on a big scale. Jesus said those things that have been hidden will come to light. It's true. The things that have been hidden from the public's view are coming to light. The things that have been hidden from us within us, guess what? Is coming to light. You'll hear yourself say something, do something, and think, why did I do that? Why did I say that? You did so you can recognize, is this who I want to be? Is this how I want to talk? Is this what I want to project to my friends, my family members? We came to be examples for others to follow. Do you know that? And we can say that about our children. You know, the children do what you do. They grow up like you grew up, 9 and 10. Because we take on their thoughts. But some of you didn't take on the thoughts of your parents or your grandparents. Or as you did, you began to shift and say, that doesn't make sense to me. So we start with our thinking, our mind. Does all this make sense to you? The vision is right. Does it make sense? Should I hate that person because they don't believe the way I do? Should I hate that person because they're an alcoholic or a drug addict? Should I hate that person because, and we can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. But I hear that little song, a little bit of it in the background, walk a mile in my shoes. Before you criticize and abuse, walk a mile in my shoes. It took a lot of hurt and pain to put somebody in a place that they would do some of these horrendous things to other people. And all that pain and anger is eating away at them. But that's what you're here for, is to overcome all of those obstacles. And it may take more lifetimes to do that. I know I was blessed with what I believe to be Jesus with this little girl that came to me at a young age, and he was the one that was leading me and teaching me. But my mother thought something was wrong with me. She told me I had to stop talking about Jesus and angels and beings. And because when I go to school, they're going to put me in a psychiatric ward. No, it wasn't a psychiatric ward. It was insane asylum, if I keep talking like that. Well, that has haunted me, and now I'm turning loose of that. Because I would think, am I schizophrenic? Is that, this, that, the other, as I grew up. Because off and on, I would still have visions. Only problem, my visions came true. Things I would dream came true. But didn't want to tell people about it. For fear of you thinking I was crazy. But right now, more and more and more of you are opening up to a place that you're beginning to know things before they happen. You begin to have dreams. You begin to have these flashes of visions. And you think something's wrong, but it's not. It's that intuition that's coming up for you to begin to recognize. And then I was thinking, when I met someone that was assistant, I went to her for some reason. I'm not sure why. Gloria Verbinski, y'all know her. But some of you do. She's an intuitive world traveler and all this, that, and the other. And when we were talking, she was telling me that I could do the same thing. Well, I realized, she said, answer questions, I did, blah, 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 blah. And I was afraid of it, even though I did it. Because I remember all this stuff was of the devil, I was taught. To meditate was of the devil, believe it or not, in my family. They didn't know what it was, but I recognized that to meditate, to pray, is to talk and give thoughts out. Meditation is being still and listening. Listening to what? That still small voice within. Or what I feel like almost a tap on my shoulder. To pause and to listen. Just pause and listen. That's where everybody is coming to or evolving to. Why? Because prophecy will be fulfilled, and even in the road to Emmaus, when you're reading, Jesus, they were talking about that Jesus mentioned that Moses, all the prophets and teachers then, the things had, especially the prophets coming up to me, that message had to be fulfilled. So it told about his birth, the prophets did. They told about all these things that would happen to him, what he would do, and then he came and he would resurrect, he would be put to death, he would give up his life, and he came to save us. Now, salvation is something that word I've turned over and over and over, trying to figure out sometimes exactly what it was, because in the Baptist order, that is going down to it, up front, bowing down, and saying, I give my life to God, and that's it. And so many people would tell me, once you're saved, always saved. That's true. But those, a lot of times, are just words. I don't mean anything against that, but it's only words. That salvation comes when that's saving you from your own stinking thinking, having the power over those negative thought forms, those negative actions, those negative, it's you, okay, it's you taking control over your own self, your own mind. We have authority over in the Garden of Eden that all was given to us. And we have power over all things. What we name a thing, it said that's what it'll be. We haven't lost that power. But it's not power over all those things out there. We were spiritual beings. We were spiritual beings that took on flesh. And we had power over our actions, over our thoughts, over our feelings. Even we had power over the cellular. Our cellular. Sounds crazy? Have you ever noticed what you hold in mind usually is created in time? But the worst thing we do is get into fear. Get into fear. Because fear can cause that to come upon us too. I'm afraid I'm going to lose my job. I'm afraid I'm going to lose my relationship. I'm afraid war's coming. I'm afraid. That's why the joy of the Lord is my strength. I've got peace like a river. It's erasing those negative things. Oh, but they're showing up to be true, Elizabeth. This is true in my life. This is what happened. Everything I do goes down the tube. Can I take your hand? Or can you take somebody else's hand? It doesn't matter what is going on in your life right now. Does it bring you pain or suffering? I guarantee you somebody in this room right now has gone through that same thing. And they can help you just know how to take that next step. It's not about a lot of woo-woo stuff. But somebody is in your energy field that can help you shift in your own way of discovering how to make that next step to be a little more peaceful, a little less anxious, and knowing that that God always makes a way. If you're open and receptive to it. Do you hear that? Just heard that. When you're open and receptive. You know, when people came up to Jesus and they were blind or deaf or lame, the woman that had an issue of blood and she had been giving all of her money to doctors and anybody she could go to try to be healed, and there was a mass of people around listening to Jesus, and it said she was trying to push her way through the crowd just to get up and touch the hem of his garment. She knew he was such a powerful being of light and love and miracles that all she had to do was just barely touch him, and she knew she would receive her healing. So she began to crawl, get down, and just make her way, because standing up, people wouldn't give her, but down low, I guess they kind of stepped aside thinking, what in the world is this about? But she made it up and she touched his hem of his garment. He said, who touched me? Because I felt energy going out to someone. My love, my peace, my harmony, my balance. Something was going to someone that was reaching out for it. And she was frightened, but she got up and said it was me. Your faith has made you whole. Blind eyes were open. Your faith has made you whole. Deaf ears, your faith has made you whole. But there's something more than this in it. You did it. You did it, Jesus. You did it. You did it. He said, it's not I, not the personal I, but it's the divine in me, the God in me, the God in you, the deep crying out to the deep. Because the same God, call it what you may, put a name on it, any kind of name, but that divine energy that was our creative life force, however you see it, is in every single one of us, and we know the name of what we call the great I am. When Moses went to give the laws or teach the people, like on a first grade level, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, he was giving a form of things we can overcome that opens us up to more light. Opens us up. Because that I am presence is the seed of all humanity that is now ready to come forth. And I believe that with all my heart and with all my soul. I will see the manifestation, true manifestation of a true son or daughter of God in my lifetime. I was told that when I was a little girl. And I really believe it. We won't be going around strutting like a peacock. Look at me. Any of that kind of stuff. Or come to me and see what I can do. No. You're just living your life. And you make a difference. Every single one of you, the light has shone through you, and you've made a difference. Don't tell me you haven't. I know you've made a difference in somebody's life. No, it wasn't all bad. Somebody thought, yeah, I've made a difference, but it's brought people down. But you've taught them something. Maybe to stand up for their own self and walk away. Maybe not to hold on to some job that they weren't happy in. There's always a reason behind everything that's happening. And we're drawing it to us to see, where do I need to hone my skills? What do I need to do to become that vessel where we know that I and the creative life were so one. Isn't that what Jesus taught? And that's what the road to Emmaus, what I meant to get on. Was these two men could tell you everything they knew about it. They could tell all the stories about what Jesus did. But do you remember what he taught you? Do you remember what he taught you? Do you remember that he said, all that I am, every single one of you are too? The high self, the I am presence that's in me, is the same presence in you of God or the divine. If we just listen, we can understand that or know it, because who do you call yourself? If you're just going to tell me that you're going out to lunch this after church with someone, would you say, would I say Elizabeth's going out to lunch with Barbara? What would you call yourself? I am. I am. I am. The I am is more powerful than you know, or a lot of people know. Cancel some of these things. I will mark it out before I get started. I am sick. I am upset. I am depressed. I am blah, I'm blah, I'm blah, I'm blah. Get what I'm saying? Cancel it. I used to think it was ridiculous when I first got into Unity to speak affirmations. I am healed and whole and healthy when I'm in the bed sick throwing up. In reality, the I am of me is never sick. That's the Christ self in you. And the more we can relate to the divine within, pardon me, not the divine out there. Thou shalt not have idols, worship anything other than the divine itself. We put God in a place out there for most of us. I'm a tap on the shoulder. It's not just out there, a big man in the sky. We put God outside of ourselves. I mean, how could God love me for some of the things I've done? You know? How could I have God in me with some of the things I've said? How could I have God in me from the actions? But God loves us just the way we are. But there's a part that we're being called for right now, is to be ye perfect, one of his teachings, as I am perfect, as the I am in you is perfect. Now that's too big to grasp, it seems like. Perfection, humanity cannot come to perfection. And look at the clock, I don't have much, I'd go into something else. But that's where you're going, folks. Perfection. Goldsmith. Something fell out of an old book. I've got some of his writings and stuff, and they go back even before I was born. And he said there was an illustration that he saw one day of a big water, like a water pitcher, and someone was and it was being poured out into just goblets, different sized goblets. And he recognized that was being poured out upon these goblets or these vessels was the infinite awareness of the divine, of that which God knows everything, and he's pouring it in these vessels, but they can only hold so much. We are those vessels. And I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. And your sons and daughters will prophesy. Others will dream dreams. That intuition, that knowingness is coming alive in this age more powerfully than ever before. And so many may choose to misuse it. And that's why we're in the shape we are today, at this point. Because everything, when we begin to channel in and get more wisdom, more knowledge, more enlightenment, we turn it into material things. I'll share this information with you if you'll give me money. I'll tell you about this technique if you give me money. I'll let there be light if you keep paying for it. Do you know we already know how to have free energy? But if it was given to humankind, guess what? What would happen to the power companies and all these things? Where, money, things would fail. What if we knew how to use our own energy to bring forth healing? Oh my gosh. Look at all the medical technology. Look, but they're coming into more and more that you don't know about too. I had a friend that actually discovered how to alleviate the common cold. And when he kept presenting it to the place who was there, showing them, he said, "Why don't you use this?" And they told him, that's something we can't let out. Because what about all the coughs and, all the things that go with just the common cold? It's multi-million dollars that people would get. And the places that make it, we can't do that. And he right in front of him tore him up and said, forget it. Well, he left there and got into some alternative works. But these things are coming to light now. And you're going to be hearing about some of these things. So they can be shared with humankind. I didn't mean to get into that. But all this is not negative. It's for us to wake up. So whatever's happening on the outer world that's disturbing you, know that there's a place of peace right in you. Right in you go. And you can ask for help. And guess what? If you truly believe that help is coming, it will. You'll meet someone. You'll go somewhere. Because now, as the light begins to shine forth from you, you're becoming a magnet. And in being magnetized for the good of humanity, and that's it. As you give, so shall you receive. When you're giving of yourself, your talents, your works, your whatever, you're attracting back to you whatever it is that you need. And we're not islands by ourselves. We need each other. We need each other. Because the energy flows when we get together. You could choose to take this room and fill it with your love and your peace. That all you'd have to do is walk in those doors. And you can. Walk in those doors. And your anxiety would not come with you. Walk in these doors. But it would take all of you creating it. And that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. That you may be healed, whole, and healthy. Right here, right now, in these physical forms. And so it is. Namaste. I behold Christ in you. I behold Christ in you. When I say the Christ, that doesn't mean Jesus. Jesus was a man just like we're human, who grew into his divinity, and he accepted that, and he lived that. And now he's going to show us, through us, how to do all things that he did. But he didn't stop there, if you remember his teachings. He said, greater works than I have done in your midst, you're going to do. Greater works. How could it be greater works? You're bringing in technology. You're bringing in a lot of information. That's what the solar flares and everything are about right now. The alignments, the planets, what they are. We're all working together. And so the heat, the rain, the storms of life that are coming, that are being manifested here on this planet, It's for cleansing and clearing. And then learning to work together. Work together to overcome any difficulties. But do not fear. Do not fear. Do not fear. Fear is the greatest thing that will attract negative things to you in this whole world. Fear not. Why? For I am with you. You don't recognize at times, but the divine is with you constantly. Read those chapters, the road to Emmaus. And then ask, what did Elizabeth say? Go inside of you and see what you feel about it. Are you thinking of it on just a mundane level, on a conscious level? Here's two men walking, they didn't recognize him. And that's it too. When we begin to transform, you become somebody totally new looking. I have a friend that was in drugs for a long time. And then she had a transformation. She's been off of 20-some years, I know. But she gets around people she used to run with, and they say, you're not the same person. You don't even look like yourself, Mark. Why? Because of that transformation. She doesn't talk like she used to talk. She doesn't act like she used to act. And our little Mal here, what was it, 40, 50 years? What was it? How many years is he off on top? Do you remember? 51 years. And he was a totally different person than when he was younger. And he loved this place, and he was a bright light, sweet as he did. But that's how you change. You just change. So this is what I'm seeing on this planet right now, and this is what I'm holding. And I'm holding for every single one of you a beautiful transformation coming about in your lives, because you're here. So that tells me you're looking for something outside the box. But you're already in it. You're already in it. The process of the spiritual work has already begun in you because you were willing to take your time to come and experience something maybe a little different than you would find somewhere else. But it's not about what I say. You can just hear some of the things I say, and if you disagree with it, that is perfectly okay. I have no problem with that at all. Find what is truth within you. And if it is a seed that has been planted in your heart or in your mind that you're wrestling with, just stay with it a while. Put it on a shelf. It may pop open someday and think, hey, that'll take me into a higher place. I know what she was saying. Or it could be, it doesn't relate to anything, I'm going to throw it in the trash can. That's okay too. So I love you just where you are, and I hope you love me just where I am. But we're here to learn and grow together. That's why I used to do Pass the Mic. I want to find out things about you, because this is not about one person talking all the time, though I do it on Sunday mornings. But that's why we need to get together, like this little movie or anything else we do. Hear other people's stories and see how they've changed so much over their life, or how they need just a little bit of encouragement to be all that they can be. Thank you for being here. Something up here is buzzing again. We used to do that. It's buzzing. I just now heard that. So, as I close, I will share with you a daily word. And our affirmation, usually it's up here. The affirmation for today. If you want to look at what I was talking about, Road to Emmaus, you can read in Luke. You can start at the first verse, really, but I was going to do 24 through, just read that whole chapter. Just Luke 24. See what you think about it. And it's all about our own journey. The Master walking with us, and us not even knowing it. Till one day it's like, he's been with me all the time, and I didn't even know it. So, if you like, just close your eyes for a moment as I share with you the daily word. Unlimited. As a spiritual being, I am unlimited. If I believe that being only human will keep me from reaching my most deeply cherished desires, today I can choose a new belief. I am fully human, and I am fully divine. Through the Christ divine within me, my divine inheritance, I am The world may be full of limitations, but I transcend those by now realizing the power and strength and will of God are now mine to express as only I can do. I feel newly empowered to go for the life of my dreams without feeling dampered or undeserving of the best that life has to offer. I am in the world, but I am not of it. I am a spiritual being, unlimited and powerful beyond measure. I boldly embrace new possibilities, and I boldly go where no one has seemed to have gone before. So I put that in there. I just heard some Star Trek stuff. So, yes, Lord, we give thanks for this time we spent together, or spending together, knowing that we can go into that place anytime we like and be still and know. Be still and know. Be still and know. Know what? Be still and know